I would have thought I would have been like, look at my degree, look at my GPA. Great, give me money. Hey you guys, it's Tori, also known as LoveMsLiz, and we are back with another episode. And if you could not tell by the title of this video is going to be all about joy. We are talking about joy today, okay? So to start off, I want to read this quote. Our faith is the foundation of our joy because we know that even our suffering can bring us closer to the Lord. And that's facts. So joy despite your circumstances, joy despite what you're going through, joy as an example of your expectant energy. Joy is one of the best ways that we can demonstrate our faith in what's to come. That being said, joy is extremely important, and I learned this lesson, I want to say when I was going through it when I graduated undergrad and I was working on my master's. I had been working at my second law firm for almost 2 years and I could not get another job to save my life. It was the struggle, okay? And let me also go into depth and explain that while what I'm about to tell you seems minor at face value, like the day doesn't seem like it's super terrible, or what I went through didn't seem like it was super bad, but you have to think about the weight and the background, which is also a lesson to treat people kindly because you never know what they're going through. And again, it's relative, so it may still seem like, girl, that ain't nothing to be going through, like what you complaining about, what you did it. But we're just here, we're just talking it up. We're talking it up, okay? When I graduated undergrad with my criminology degree, it was so hard for me to finally get an office job. And for me, I worked in an office from my freshman year all the way through my senior year consistently. So once I graduated with my degree and I'm expecting to get into the criminology field, the criminal justice field in some way, shape, or form, the fact that I was incapable of finding a job was very disheartening. Well, I went from working in an office, which is like where my safe space was, that's my safe zone, to not being able to find a job after I graduated, and then eventually settling on working at Papacito. And I don't want to say settling on working at Papacito, but I mean, I was settling. I wanted more. I wanted to do something that had more substance, and I was working at Papacito. So that whole post-grad depression thing, or like feeling like I got these degrees, why am I not able to get a good job or get this or get that? Like, that is a real thing. Graduation and feeling like you invested all this time or money in something and then not being able to achieve afterwards, or feeling like you're not achieving because everything that you're applying to is like, you can have a degree, but you need to have 16 years of experience for the entry-level position, and you still only gonna make $25,000 a year. It's like, what am I doing? Like, what is this life that I'm living in? Because this is crazy. That was my journey from my undergrad to getting a job. I only worked at Papacito for like 2 months, and then I was able to get some office jobs that weren't like a passion, but it was something. Fast forward, I start working on my master's degree and I end up working at this law firm, and I'm working as a receptionist. Transparency, I'm making $13.50 an hour, but I'm at a law firm, I'm a receptionist, it's 30 hours a week, and I'm working on my master's. So in my mind, I'm like, you know, it is what it is. It's fine. For context, also, this was in 2016 that I started working with this company. And by 2018, I'm like, I'm trying to do something different. Like, I'm trying to progress in the workforce. I'm about to start working on my thesis. I'm about to have my master's degree. Making $13.50 an hour is not gonna cut it. Like, I'm paying for my master's program out of pocket. I'm gonna need something to budge. I'm gonna need something to come in. So I was really good at my job there, and I talked to a plethora of people, and I ended up meeting this nice woman who introduced herself to me and started talking to me. And she actually worked as a really well-known paralegal trainer. And she had her own company. She still has it, I believe, where she trains paralegals. She'll go into your office, or she'll have boot camp where people can come in and learn all about being a paralegal, at least in that sector, which was family law. And she built a relationship with me. She started talking to me. She realized I was consistent. I did my job. I showed up and I did what I had to do, okay? And from there, eventually she starts asking me questions about like, you know, well, what are my goals? What do I want to do? Da, 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 da. She finds out I'm in my master's program, and she finds out what my goals are, but she's working on helping me progress, because at that time I'm like, maybe I want to go to law school, maybe I don't know. But she's trying to now help me get a paralegal position, which was great, which was amazing. She like had me send her my resume. She had me do all this stuff, revise things, and then she started submitting me to people she knew. So I was was getting interviews, which this goes to show also when you are in a circumstance, even a circumstance you don't necessarily want to be in, because at that point I'm like, okay, I don't want to work here anymore and I want to move on. But that doesn't mean that my attitude can change. That doesn't mean that I can't have a good demeanor with clients and with my coworkers and with my boss. That means that I need to work towards change, but still, you never know how God is putting things together in your life, because this woman did not owe me anything. She was not even my coworker. She worked with another lady who actually contracted space out of the office. So she owed me nothing, and she just did it out of the kindness of her heart. Thank you, God. So always be positive, always still do your best no matter what you're doing, because you never know who God is sending along your way, who God wants you to cross paths with, and you want to make sure you're ready, right? Fast forward. I'm going on these job interviews and I'm not able to get anything because although I'd worked in a law firm for almost 2 years at that point, I wasn't able to do that much paralegal work in my position. And I was at like what you would call a swing door firm where they handled a lot of different cases. And she was referring me to all family law firms. So they were handling a bunch of different cases and I had like a little bit of knowledge on just random stuff because they did so many different things at that law firm that I had no like just family law experience to actually identify. So even though they liked me, they're like, you know, we could work on getting her trained or whatever, but we really need someone who's trained. So it's one of those situations where law firms move quick. So unless they're working ahead of the curve, then they're probably trying to hire because they have too much demand. They're very fast paced. They're very, I don't want to say strict, but it's just really important work. You got to think about it. We're dealing with families. And when you're dealing with courts and deadlines and clients and people's kids and people's money, like it's a big deal. It's very stressful. So I completely understood them wanting someone that's trained, but now I'm like, okay, so what am I gonna do, right? So the pressure is getting thicker. At this point, I was living with my parents. So I was also hearing like, you know, what's the plan, da 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 da. Even though I was paying for my master's program out of pocket, be clear, they are like, okay, you know, what are we doing, you know? What's the plan? What's the goal? So I did have like just pressure in general of what am I going to do? I need to make more money and I want to progress. This is not going to work. And I keep getting these no's. So one morning I'm having a rough morning. I don't know what all else was going on, but I know I was having a rough morning. I found out that I did not get a job that I felt really, really good about. And my interview went great. He liked me. I liked him, whatever. And the woman also told me the interview went great. He said it went so well, da, 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 da. But I didn't get the job. I didn't get the job. So I'm stressed and I found out a morning going into the office and it's just a rough morning. And I'm trying my best. Maybe my period was about to start. I don't know. Ladies, you know how it is. I end up spilling my coffee on myself and my desk, mostly my desk and a little bit on myself, which never happens. So I'm like, and I clean it up, go to the bathroom. And at this point, I'm about to have a breakdown. Because mind you, I graduated from college in 2015. It is now 2018. I haven't gotten like a job that makes me feel comfortable and confident. And I feel like I should have that. Like I feel like I should have things together. The thought of feeling like I should have things together at that point. But it just wasn't working. So I went to the bathroom and I cried because I was so frustrated. And every part of me wanted to go home and just say, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. Like I can't. Because I didn't know how I was going to get out of this situation. That is a terrible feeling to have, to feel like you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. Like you just don't know. At this point, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to go get my doctorate and just, you know, be a professor. And I'm just gonna have to do all these extra things and I'm not gonna be able to do anything now because my undergraduate degree and my graduate degree hold no weight. They hold no weight. I would have thought I would have been like, look at my degree, look at my GPA. Great, give me money. But it's like, it's not holding any weight, especially not in this industry. I mean, I could be a parole officer. That ain't what I'm trying to do. No part of me wants to do that. So I'm just stressed, okay? Stressed with a C. I have my cry in the bathroom and I think about life and then I say, you know what? I don't know if I saw a sermon. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure I was watching Stephen Furtick at the time. I don't know what it was, but I just told myself, you are going to be happy. You are going through this for some reason, but you know you're going to come out on the other side. You know you're going to be okay. So despite what you're feeling right now, you be joyful. Despite what you're feeling right now, you smile. Despite what you feel right now, you be happy. You be thankful for what you do have. Even though you want more, be thankful for what you have and be happy for what's on its way. Have an expectant energy. Delulu, which really it isn't even Delulu. It's not delusional. That's how many times am I going to say Delulu? But it's not delusional. It's faith. It's having faith in circumstances where what you see is not what you want, but you have faith that it's going to get better. So I decided I was going to do that, right? Wipe my face off, put on my big girl pants, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be happier than I was the first day I worked at this job, which I really did like overcompensate because I had to push it, you know? I didn't feel it, but I wanted it. So I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have this energy. I'm going to be happy, joyful, because happy is based on circumstance. Joy is based on just what God gives you and gratitude. I go in, I do it. Mind you, all of this happened like morning time. So I would go in there at like 9. We could say all this happened between 9 and 11. I was probably doing this for like an hour or so because I believe I had to take lunch at 12 if I recall correctly. And when I go on my lunch, I get a call from the lady and she's talking to me and she's like, I'm so sorry. I saw, you know, or I think she might have given me the information. Someone gave me the information, but either way, she knew that I didn't get the job because again, I was her referral. So she calls me during my lunch. She apologizes about how everything went with the job and explained to me like, you know, they did love you. It was really just the training. They want someone who has training coming in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but they don't want to have to start from like 0 on the training scale, which I get. And then she's like, I have another job opportunity. And she starts listing off the details to me. Some of them including the hours. She gave me how much it paid. She gave me what all it would entail. And it wasn't paralegal work, which I was fine with. It wasn't paralegal work and it was a work from home position. I'm like, oh, all this sounds great, you know, especially because I'm starting on my thesis at this point and having the flexibility would really be great. I'd never worked from home before. I say, you know, all of that sounds great. And she's like, okay, and the job is with me. And I was like, okay. And she was like, does that change how you feel about it? And I was like, no. And I was like, how do I apply for it? And she was like, do you want the job? And I'm like, she was like, if you want it, it's yours. And I was like, yeah, I do. I kid you not. This was the same exact day that I wanted to walk out of this job, which I know for a fact, if I had done that, she would not have offered me that position. If I had done that, she probably would have considered it and was like, no. Like even if she had the thought in her head that morning, finding out that I walked out, she would have definitely taken that opportunity back. So it just goes to show like, you never know. You never know what's going on in the background. God can make a way out of no way. You can be nurturing the walls of your home thinking that there's no door there, and then out of nowhere, a door, an extra room pops up in this house that you thought you knew so well, but it's a way out of no way. And to even talk about it, it's just like, God is literally so good, because when you exercise your faith in him, the blessings come down. The blessings will arrive. The blessings will come through, but it does take something from you. Kind of like in one of my other videos when I talk about like, you've gotten this far with grace, but now I need you to show me grit. And even just as it pertains to spiritual warfare, because we know as we progress in life and as we get closer to goals, there's gonna be turmoil, there's gonna be tribulations, there's gonna be trials, there's gonna be things that we have to go through. And not because God wants us to go through them, but because ultimately there are things that someone or something is trying to stop us from, which may sound like super spiritual, but I don't care. That's just the way life works. When you feel like you want to give up, and when you feel like you're ready to quit, and when you feel like you don't know how this is going to work out, that's the time to exercise even more faith, exercise even more joy, show up for your job even better, work even harder, because that means whatever's coming next is better and it's a step in the right direction for you. Now, is anything that I'm doing right now involved in that sector at all? No. But I will say that entire journey of working with her is what really taught me how to work in content creation and start managing social media. One, it set me up to get paid for what I got paid for, what helped me buy my house and things of that nature, because I did work as a paralegal for what, 2-3 more years after that. But also it helped teach me how to go and create my own graphics, create my own content and things of that nature, outside of sitting down and recording a video and not really knowing about like how I could go into Canva and just do all those things. So every single step of our life, every single thing that you obtain, every single thing is a blessing. There's something you can be grateful for. When you exercise joy, even despite what you're going through, you're telling God that you understand he is bigger than what you're seeing. He is bigger than what you're going through. He is is bigger than every single struggle that you have in this moment. And you have faith that he is going to come through, because he is. And he might just come through a little bit quicker when you put on that smile, when you do what you got to do, when you show up the way he wants you to show up. Which makes me think of another quote that I do want to tell y'all about. I used to have this quote on my computer at my last corporate job, and it's Colossians 3:23 through 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Making sure you're showing up and making sure you're doing things not just because your boss told you to. And that's when it goes down to, when you start feeling some type of way about something your boss does, or if you don't agree with something your boss does, that doesn't mean that your work ethic wavers. That doesn't mean that you fold. That doesn't mean that you don't do what you're supposed to do as an employee, because you're not doing it just for them. And I mean, it is for them, but when we know who we are and whose we are, we do things for a bigger reason, which is why your work ethic ends up being so much better usually, because it's like, baby, you think I'm a good employee for you? I'm a good employee for the Lord. I do this because my heart posture, not for this check. I do this for the man upstairs, not for the man in the back of the office. If that's offensive, I'm sorry, but at least the work is good, you know? So it's like, when you have that type of mentality towards it, you don't really have to worry about circumstances and things of that nature. And I'm not gonna hold you. I don't want every video that I talk about to only be about like employment or dating, but I mean, if that's what ends up happening, that ends up happening. But the same thing goes for relationships. And I do feel like on a larger scale, the climate of dating in the world today is really I don't wanna say, it's like a test almost. Like, everybody believes in God and everybody has faith until they're single and they're like, I wanted to have kids by now, you know? And then it's like, you don't expect God to come through on that at all. You just talking about how men ain't this, men ain't that, or women ain't this, women ain't that, because you haven't found the one, but you're not exercising faith, which is, trust me, this is a whole nother video. You're not exercising complete faith in the Lord. You may have faith in him. God, protect me on this journey, protect me on this trip, protect me on. And it's like, you know, things that aren't minor, but it's ritualistic almost. Like, you're doing it because you're used to doing it in this manner. You're used to doing it in this way. But when it comes to money, when it comes to your partner, when it comes to your child, when it comes to your family, when it comes to things that you feel like are just so big, things that you idolize. But when it comes to things that you feel like are bigger, then it's like, you know, it's up to me and I just got to go based off of the climate of the world. So it ain't never gonna be better. It ain't never gonna get good, because you don't genuinely believe God is gonna help you out in that area as well. You don't genuinely believe that God has something in store for you in that area as well. It could be employment, it could be dating, it could be your house, it could be whatever. Like, if you have a child that you're like, my child just is out of control, you don't got faith that your child gonna get it together because you feel like it's bigger than the Lord. It's not. It gets hard. And I know my example, even when it comes down to some of the stuff that I pivoted to, like, oh, am I gonna get married, or oh, am I gonna be able to make enough money, or oh, am I this? Yes, my situation came when I was all of 24, 23, whatever it was, and it didn't seem like it was life or death. And some things can seem like they're life or death, no matter how big, no matter how small. Whenever the circumstances are not to your liking, whenever things don't look the way you expected them to look or the way you want them to look, exercise joy in knowing that more is to come. If it's not good, God is not done. And there is the saying, faith without works is dead, which is true. This does not mean you can lollygag through life and say, I'm joyful though. I'm joyful. I'm gonna sit on my butt all day and not do nothing for what I want to do, but I'm joyful. So God's gonna bless me. That's not how it works. Faith without works is dead. So that means what? Faith with works is life. Faith with works is living. Faith with works is blessings. I don't know the alternative, but I'm just using opposites. But you get what I'm saying. Do what you gotta do. And your heart posture, when you're trying to figure out how to be joyful, think about gratitude. So even for my situation, yeah, I was in a job that I didn't want to be in anymore and I wanted more, but I still had that job. God still made it so that I had that position. I wasn't fired. I didn't have to quit earlier. There wasn't a layoff. I still had that opportunity. I still had income. And that wasn't my only job. I was also a GRA, which is a graduate research assistant. So I was still well taken care of. I was able to pay for my master's degree out of pocket with my own money. These are the things where when your circumstance isn't necessarily what you want, still think about what you have. You might not have the house you want, but you got a roof over your head. You might not have the car you want, but you have a car. You might not have your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse yet, but you have so much space and opportunity to cultivate a life that you want and to learn yourself in a way, try new things in a way that other people cannot. There's always something to still be grateful for. And when you're trying to figure out how to be joyful, think about that. Think about the things that you can say thank you for, and even affirm and declare new things with your statements. Delulu, you know, I'm about to get a new job. If I would have said that, I would have had no idea back then how I was gonna get a new job. I'm about to get a new job. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where it's coming from, but I know God's gonna do it and it's done. So I'm happy. Tori, why are you so happy today? God's promoting me. Blessings are coming down. Something new is on its way. I'm gonna hear some good news in a second. In a minute. Give me a day. Give me an hour. Give me something. Have that expectant energy, because that is a demonstration of knowing what God is doing for you all the time. He is good. With that, I do want to leave you with 3 scriptures. Turn these into affirmation or just meditate on them daily. Remember, Philippians 4:7, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Romans 15:13, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Romans 8:18, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. Which I think that one is probably one of my favorites, just because what you're going through right now, I'm not saying it's not hard, and I'm not saying that it might not cause stress, but it's not even comparable. It's not worth comparing to what's to come. Know that and declare that in your actions. Know that and declare that in what you do. Know that and declare that in your attitude. I hope that this video helps somebody understand why, even if you gotta fake it, even if you gotta be like, I'm happy, and deep down inside you like, I wanna cry, I wanna punch a wall, I wanna crawl into a corner. Just push yourself to find the gratitude. Push yourself to still demonstrate happiness. It's kind of like when you fake laugh and you're like fake laughing because you're supposed to fake laugh, but you always actually laugh. Smile until that smile is real. Declare it until you actually believe it. And you will retrain your mind to think in a better way in general. You will have expected energy in so many different avenues of life, and it'll pay off, and you will see the difference because our faith is working. The things are working over here. Listen to William Murphy, It's Working. That song, he did his thing on that song. Another thing I want to recommend to you is actually the power of your subconscious mind. So I'm listening to this right now. I was actually listening to it today, which happened to be completely coincidental. I just finished the 5 a.m. club and I wanted to go back to this book because I started it and never finished it. And I was like, God, look at you giving me this recommendation for my video that I'm recording today. Look at you. But retrain your mind and let that do wonders in your life, because once you fix that heart posture, once you fix that faith, and once you put in that work, you deserve everything God is waiting to give you. But that is all for today. I'm gonna have the power of the subconscious mind linked down below. Feel free to check it out. And remember, gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude. Joy regardless of the circumstances. I hope this video helped. If you liked it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.